5 years before 9/11, I would have been 45 years old and pretty much at the apex of my career and things I was doing and kind of exciting things to do. It's during that period when I made the most money of any period in my life, and it was pretty heady times full of really memorable experiences. Uh, I worked and traveled a tremendous amount. I had a home in Indianapolis, a home in California, and was actually seldom at each one of them. I was working in a part of my industry that was really at the top of that industry. It was very exciting. I was a very lucky person to be doing it. Uh, the travel started to exhaust me in that period, though, and an opportunity came up. A person that I had been close friends with and really cared about for a long time became single. Uh, so I married her, and I got that changed my whole life. First of all, I decided to stop traveling the way I had been and changed my career a lot. And also, I got two kids with the deal, which I thought were they just kind of came along with the package, but turned out they were the biggest part of the deal, and still are. Uh, they've been a huge thing in my life, and now there are grandchildren, and that whole thing just evolved into something tremendous and a whole new thinking and way of life. Uh, 9/11 came after we had been married about a year, and that was something that was a very traumatic experience for everyone, I think, and changed the way you think about so much in the world and recognize our vulnerabilities just in kind of random damage to us. And it became a very asymmetric war with our great military powers fighting against guys who had homemade bombs. Uh, Not that that's new. I mean, you go back to Vietnam, and that war was very asymmetric also, but not like this. The enemy was almost invisible. In fact, there was hardly an identifiable enemy, and the people that we were really pointing fingers at to blame, it took another decade to get any justice there. And the real impact perhaps wasn't economic. The real impact was what it did to how much our privacy we were willing to expend to pursue the people who did this. That probably had an economic impact, and also the this what they called the War on Terror, which I think is kind of misnamed. It certainly had an economic impact. We spent a lot of money in directions we wouldn't have, uh, possibly good and bad. I mean, we might have pursued more uh, weapons of like large scale destructive weapons instead of pinpoint accuracy weapons. So there was a change in military thinking. As far as the economy, it's hard to say from my point of view if it really changed what transpired in the 5 years after that, which was a burst in this tremendous growth of uh, wealth and income that occurred in that period. And that bubble burst, and then uh, not much more than 5 years after 9/11 is my economic bubble burst. For the first time in my life, I was way underemployed and really scraping to make a living and support this newfound family and stuff. It was a very tough time. Uh, 9/11 affected so many things in a peripheral fashion that it probably contributed to that, either in a kind of a wartime false sense of uh, invincibility in the economy or growth in the economy, or it distracted us from dealing with economic issues that we should have recognized one or the other. I think 9/11 was a pivotal point in history to me in the era that I've lived in, and a hugely important, memorable event in line with, you know, uh, Bay of Pigs, with, Kennedy assassination, with, for that matter, Elvis dying, things you remember. But it's certainly something I'm always going to remember.